Oh, it finally happened. Didn't I predict it though, again and again? It was just a matter of time. Vampiro made it clear he wasn't going to stay. Vamp has quit. Ah, I wish things could have been different between us, Vampiro. I'm a big fan. And I guess this just wasn't the right fit for you, and I'm glad you participated. And you've been champion of one sort or another. And I guess this is farewell. Good luck to you in your travels, my fellow Canadian. That covers who is no longer here. Pay raises for some who are still here. Consultation. Alan Hawkins, the Canadian sensation. Now making over $13,000 a month, which is insane, but he is sensational and outwardly displays Canadian pride. Ted Axel, the $50,000 man. Just under $6,000 now. And if that stings at all, wise man, you are a non-champion at this time, so. One more. Christian. Under $2,000 a month, which seems unfair since, as you can see in the profile, he holds 2 belts. The Unified Junior Champion. But hey, 'tis a weight limit division, so. Invite. Free Agent Japan. Hell Knight. The invite would cost over $16,000, which is roughly 10% of our expenses so far this month. See in the top right. This free agent will participate in this episode's matches. Who is this guy exactly? Can see in profile he carries a title belt as the final champion of the Ace promotion. ACE, Ace, which we showed last episode is now dissolved. you might recall from way back in episode 2, Ace was Deathblow Ken's original promotion before he signed with us. You might also recall from last episode, Satan's General spoke of calling in an outsider. And no, I don't mean Kevin Nash or Scott Hall. Again, backstage, we find Satan's Team Satan 2-man edition. The foot soldier says, "So he agreed, sir. Did it take much convincing?" The general replies, "Not really. I promised if he puts Midnight Night out of action, I'll pull strings with CEO Derek Bogart to get Hell signed long-term to the roster here. If he wants to resurrect his career, this is the place to do it." Foot soldier says, "And then he can be our new third, and we can challenge again for the 6 tag." Hell Knight walks in and joins them. And then these 3 men march to my office, where they find me and the Midnight Knight about to sign the contract for the rematch. With Big Titan for Canada's Heavyweight Championship. So the Hell Knight gets right up into the face of Midnight Knight and says, "You see this belt? Ace. It means I'm the real heavyweight champion, which means I'm better than you." To which the Midnight Knight replies, "Better than me? Surely you jest. I'm about to defeat Big Titan for Canada's Heavyweight Championship. You're the phony champion of a failed promotion. You're not on my level, sorry." Hell Knight sneers menacingly, declares, "If you have any guts at all, you'll face me night to night. And if you win," he holds up the Ace Heavyweight title belt. So little. "And if you win, you get this." Knightly honor prohibits Midnight from backing down from a challenge. the Big Titan rematch. Again, we'll have to wait. Satan's General smiles widely in the background, and I've agreed to give Team Satan the August off to watch the Battle of the Knights from the front row. Also, in the dressing room, Iron Mike Sharp stands in front of a mirror, adjusting the 6-tag title belt around his waist, perhaps with a tear in eye that despite his advanced age, Canada's greatest athlete, you see it in the top middle there, is a Canadian champion. In walks Mike Sharp Jr. Dad, I saw your title victory in June. Son, but your training center is out in Vancouver. You came all this way to Ottawa just to celebrate my supporting role in a 6-tag championship? I'm not just here to congratulate you. I'm here also to join you. Really? Yeah, the trainer said I'm ready to compete. He got on the phone with CEO Derek Bogart, and they got me on a capital flight. So, hugs, 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 yada yada. After which, but the timing. I have the 6-tag to defend. That means we can't be a team like we always wanted. Don't worry about it, Pop. Mr. Bogart says he can use me in other matches in the meantime. Defend your title with Canadian pride, and at some point we'll tag up. So let's get Mike Sharp Jr. assigned to a proper stable. Right now he's in the junior stable, because he's a type of junior, right? In name, anyway. If not by weight class. So for the moment, he's in the junior stable. But he'll be moved in with his dad, Canada Black. Here we go. Canada Black, of course, led by the champion. So we got Iron Mike. And down at the bottom, of course, because for the moment he's the runt of the litter. He's new. So he replaces the freshly departed Vampiro in this stable. So welcome aboard. Established that I'd find some other match for Mike Sharp Jr. Who against? Well, I get on the phone to Mexico. With Miguel Hernandez. Mexico Miguel. Remember him? Who had sort of fallen out of favor and had returned to his home country. Max, how's it going? Been a while. Say, look, I have a new roster member, a heavyweight, who needs an opponent. And I was thinking his first match ever might make it easier to acclimate to real competition if he faces a junior. Might not be as rough on him first time out. Interested? Miguel replies, in other words, you need someone to lay down for a new talent you're promoting? Well, kind of a negative spin, but I get it. Please understand, I didn't mean to phase you out. It just sort of happened, you know? Hey, look on the positive side. It's a match booking in a $60 million promotion. Yours if you want it. Miguel replies, tell you what, if I'm going to cross 2 borders to come back, you need to make it worth my while. And the conclusion of that bargaining will play out next episode. For the time being, though, Miguel agrees to the match. Against Mike Sharp Jr. So let's examine his profile, shall we? So beginning top, middle there, carrying on the nickname of Iron. As we move down sort of the middle column, if you will. Weight, 297, so he's a big kid. Even his father, who was not small, we have him at 271, a little taller. The son's hitting the gym significantly more, perhaps, than his father did. Maybe, whereas Canada's greatest athlete certainly would have had that old school toughness. Could be that the son has more sophisticated fitness and training at his disposal. Continuing down the middle there, looking at some moves. Running forearm smash. If you remember from the old Iron Mike Sharp days, he would have like a black forearm sort of pad that he wore, which was allegedly to protect against injury during the match. And then during said match, you'd find that he would, at some point, probably club an opponent with said injured forearm to his advantage. So the son carrying on that tradition. Hammer punch. That sounds pretty impactful. Let's see if we can figure that one out during the match. Bear hug. So using some of that, what has to be impressive strength, at 297 in shape. See if he can squeeze the life out of some people. Canadian backbreaker. You notice the father had that move as well, which is like an over-the-shoulder sort of kind of perpendicular submission. Jumping pile driver. So he doesn't just pile drive. He's going to use some of that strength to just leap up in the air and, well, can hardly wait for that. So if we go to the right column from top to bottom, again, maybe owing to being a subsequent generation having more access to top fitness and training and stuff like that. And he's got attack B, defense A, which is better than your old dad had. C plus and B. Salary just over $1,000, but hey, he's new. How much could he really expect to get paid? Match style, King's Road. Seems to me I talked about that style in the past. I'm very fascinated by it. The gist of it seems to be you tell the story during the match as opposed to interviews and mic work prior to. And so over the course of the match, you might, start with like a feeling out process, and then maybe you start finding holes as the match goes on. You can exploit your opponent. Maybe you test the waters to see what types of moves are working, what types of moves get a rise out of the crowd, and then you gear the match toward that. And then maybe you wear down a body part that pays dividends later. These are all things that you don't need you don't need a microphone for any of this. It all you watch and be fascinated by what's happening over the course of the match. It's not just a random series of moves necessarily, like a lot of today's action is in modern wrestling. Popularity B, that first spot is for the America region, which Canada's in, part of the Americas. So B, popularity. It's a lot to have right out of the gate, but we'll just say that he's being the son of an established Canadian. He'll arrive with some fanfare and support and optimism for second generation Sharp. Actually, that might not even be true. I think Iron Mike might even have been a second generation. Anyway, subsequent generation. Let's just leave it at that. Trust D. We just got out from under the D trusts, and now we'll touch on that more later. But fair enough. I guess he's here to spend time with his dad while he still can, while dad's still wrestling, and D is for dad, I guess. And maybe he doesn't necessarily think he has to be here necessarily, so you might need to do something to make him want to stay. Trust D, fair enough. A lot of guys have come in at Trust D, and I've had to make them want to stay, and usually it's worked. One notable exception, but we don't have to dwell on that. So that's the opening match. Hopefully the opening match doesn't irritate him too much and cause his trust to worsen. We don't need that, but it's your first match. First match. You can be in the opener. What do you want? Match 2. Omega versus the Irredeemable. Rematch. Shota's rematch to prove a junior isn't necessarily to be overwhelmed by a heavyweight, the way he kind of was when he tried his luck with Omega in a previous episode. So now we get into the first of 6 title matches. The Midnight Night, yeah, as we established in the intro, will challenge for the Ace Heavyweight Championship in a Battle of the Knights. Also, the Dramatic Fight Wrestling Heavyweight Championship between old Pearl Harbor friends/enemies, the frenemies. Not very successful as a tag, pretty successful individually. I guess it's not out of the question they'll tag again someday, but right now they're fighting over this belt. Ted Axel and the Baron Charles. Wise man seeking $50,000 revenge over his 3-defense Dramatic Fight Wrestling Heavyweight Championship reign being surpassed by the Baron's 4 defenses of this title. So now let's move on to the Canadian Championships. We begin with Type B, Big Man Complex. I guess this is a bit of a falsehood to say that he gets another shot at Christian, because if you notice, top left, Owen Miller is set to 1 player, which means he is taking a fall on purpose to do with the Mexico Miguel bargain. strange as that may seem. To find out more, to get clarification on how that is, be sure to catch next episode. So as long as we're on Christian, out is his buddy Edge. Where's a place to check on? Doesn't matter. Disregard Ted Axel there, he's not. Edge. Yes. Neck trouble, as you can see in the center picture there. Neck trouble after the Exploder critical inflicted by Big Titan last episode, the Canada Day tournament. So recovery time for Christian's good buddy Edge. Match 6, fittingly, is for the 6-Tag Championship. First title defense for latest incarnation of Team Canada Black, which features Team Best Friend, KO and Lionheart having joined forces with Iron Mike Sharp. 6-Tag Champions. And this was called for many moons ago. And it's just never happened. Sharpshooter Syndicate for the 6-Tag Championship. You might recall the Canadian members of this trio, Hitman, Canadian Sensation, finally dropped the DFW Tag titles after 8 title defenses. But now the 3-man is free to reunite. As you see the Hitman there, Brett in Black, Morning Black versus KO. Captain KO, who finally picked up his first win against arch-rival Hitman. But Brett goes for revenge for the revenge by trying to take Owens' new title. Get the 3 back on there. Episode 32. August, again, from 1 year ago exactly. Sharpshooter Syndicate was close to defeating Team Weird for the 6-Tag. Sharpshooter had a 2.9 count during that match. It's the closest they've ever come to hoisting the 3-man championship. And Sharpshooter gets another shot at the title they've never won. Unfinished business for that stable. Speaking of weird, the terrible members of that former team back in action after being left out of Canada Day because it was a singles tournament. The terrible members of former Team Weird defending Canada's Tag Team Championship. You see Jason in Patriot Red after not being included in Canada Day. It's a little after the fact, but this is the best you can do. And they will be facing the newest edition, most recent edition, of Team Canada Blue. Blue Blazer and Big Mike. Mike, perhaps with confidence a bit shot after consecutively losing the 6-Tag title while captain, and then losing in the first round of the tournament. So the Blue Blazer will take up the mantle of leadership for this team and will lead them bravely into the Bear Lair. Take back on there the ominous wrestling bear. So Blue Blazer will start out the match, hopefully with the high energy Blue needs in order to avoid a terrible outcome. And finally, the main event. Owing to the epic rematch for the ages from Canada Day last episode, we need to see this one more time for Canada's heavyweight championship. Must be Wolf Hockfield taking on the seemingly unbeatable Big Titan, the King of Canada, who will be wearing his red alt, his alternate uniform, to exhibit some Canada patriotism post-tournament, but better late than never. Whereas the Wolf his Patriot Red, having not quite worked out on Canada Day, he got to the final but came up short. He's back to his blue. So, in different uniforms from when they faced each other last episode. So Dems beat matches. Let's check out the venue on the right side. $80 ticket price to put over 28,000 in the stands, along with some social media advertising. So $80 ticket price for 8 matches in 8th month of year 4. Okay. Confirm. Training center. Touch-ups. Medical only. Balance ball. $100. Seems very affordable for a $60 million promotion to give people better equipment to, in the top right, train your core to reduce chance of injury. Yes. $100, no problem. Ring doctor. Physical examination to determine possible risk of injury. Definitely want to know about that. Clinic. Consult with doctor for health and self-care advice. Injury recovery speed. Okay. We'll opt against restoring the lounge, which supports the trust of wrestlers to make them more likely to want to stay, because trust issues resolved that we've been having, at least. We have a new one with Mike Jr., but if we go check out Lionheart, looky there in the bottom right of his profile. Trust C. C is for Chris Jericho. Finally improved from D. Long-time D. Finally. Decided maybe he's going to lay down some roots here. D was for danger level low. which we saw that play out with Vampiro. And with Vampiro having been the only other D, having D for departed, no longer be worrying about where he's at. But there's an adverse consequence to having closure on that. If we head on over to promotion stats, toward the top there, popularity. You remember, America used to be S rating in popularity. We graduated from A to S. We're back down to A in the America region, owing to Vampiro's personal popularity of S, now gone. So that was, I guess that was putting us over the top for S, and now that he's gone, having left the promotion, we're back down to A. So S being something to aspire back to. Still have nearly half of a year to finish the year back with S. So hopefully we're in a rural setting for this next venue, this next event. So that's conducive to improving promotion popularity. And finally, before we get to the matches, you know it, you love it, you've seen it, we got to check in on the View title belts. View title belts. So which was first? Dramatic Fight Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. That's the one we first mentioned. Mentioned, if you see there, Ted Axel previously held this title and had 3 defenses. And then the Baron Charles, in his second reign for this belt, has gone ahead and achieved 4 defenses. So Wise Man is cross about that and looking to take $50,000 revenge. Can't undo the record book, that's etched in stone now, but see if Ted can get a sense of satisfaction over that. Still with Dramatic Fight Wrestling, checking on the tag. Team Satan now has the belts for, what is that, their third, scrolling back up, 3-time now, Dramatic Fight Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Here's the record. Ace Matt Gibson had been the 2-time captain of this title. Now Team Satan has held it 3 times, which now surpasses Sharpshooter Syndicate had it twice. But boy, does Brett have bragging rights, though. Look at that. 8th champion. 8 title defenses. 8. That is by far the most. The Ace had 2 wins in the inaugural reign. 2 title defenses. 8. So Sharpshooter Syndicate has made an imprint on this title that presumably will not be eclipsed, but never say never. It's a pet peeve of mine when people want to say, we'll never see anything like this. You don't know what we're going to see. Stop pretending you can see the future. You can't. One more. Speaking of records that probably won't be eclipsed. My goodness. With Big Titan having held on to the belt for the Canada Day tournament, that counts as 1 title defense, even though it was 3 wins. So in a way, it's like 14 title defense. Anyway, the game will recognize what it recognizes, but the point is we're now at the Titan 12. Big Titan for Canada's Heavyweight Championship. If he's going to get to lucky/unlucky 13, depending on how you look at it, he will have to stave off another challenge from Wolf Hockfield, which will be the main event. Got a few matches to get to before that. Let us proceed. August, year 4, match 1. Making his debut for the Canada Wrestling Promotion. Mike Sharp Jr. If you recall, when Mike Sr. made his debut a while back, he said his whole reason for joining this promotion was to pave the way for his son to be a part of Canadian wrestling. His first opponent, back from Mexico after a significant hiatus, Mexico Miguel, whose first match back is a tough ask. For Mike Sharp Jr. is nearly 300 pounds, a massive man. And Miguel wisely, perhaps, getting the brass knuckles going early. Eye rake. Yeah, he's definitely pulling out the dirty tactics right away, and probably a good idea. He's got a huge size disparity to overcome. And Junior, I guess we could call it. What's a good short form? Making use of that size right now. Okay. Oh yeah, good idea. I'll make some preparations while you're out. Irish whip as Mike Jr. I think that's a good enough way to go. Because Junior, who knows, I might be referring to either guy. Whereas we have Big Mike, we have Iron Mike. There's only one guy who's a Mike Jr., so that's probably the safest way to go. As long as his father's still here, at least. He's going to have to deal with being referred to as a youngster. There's that bear hug, so applying that near 300 pounds worth of strength to a junior-sized opponent seems bullying, but, you know, this is the match he was given. And perhaps ill-advisedly trying to execute a power move on a man to whom you're giving up many pounds. Mike Jr. gets the reversal. Superman punch into the turnbuckle, and Miguel is going to need to prove to be super. Indeed. He's going to pull off this upset. And you know, as you might have gleaned from the intro, Miguel is not meant to win this. He's meant to be an opponent to get Mike Jr. ready for serious competition here. Backbreaker by Mike Jr. But if you're Miguel, I mean, first match back, I mean, why would you not want to try to make something of this? Imagine if you could pull the upset. Exploit the inexperience of Mike Jr. At least his inexperience here in the CWP. Use some of that agility. Dragon Sleeper, I believe. Or Dragon Crab, maybe. It's kind of like the boss. No, a Dragon Clutch, because it was like a camel clutch pose, like the Iron Sheik used to do. But then that back headlock thing, whatever you call that. Dragon clutch instead of camel clutch. Yeah. Let's go with that, shall we? Flurry of strikes, taking advantage of his quickness, perhaps. Is Miguel moon? Was that standing moonsault? Backdrop, making the high flyer go up pretty high. Mike is pretty tall. I think it was 6'3" in the profile. So eye rake. Miguel going back to some of those early tactics of trying to confuse and discombobulate the much bigger man. What is he trying from here? Turnbuckle. Oh, eye rake. Turnabout. Fair play from Mike Jr. and it caused a significant fall for Miguel. Tired Miguel might be. Not only is it first match back from hiatus, so maybe his cardio is not quite back, but he is trying to handle a much bigger man than he's used to. Maybe he went for the Huracan Rana there, Mexican Frankensteiner. But Mike Jr. was able to power bomb out of it. Brass knuckles. Well, he got a 2 count. So the experience of Miguel, perhaps, is maybe a slingshot. Slingshot from near the turnbuckle. Oh, but some pretty good ring awareness by the rookie there. Dodge. Yeah, 2 count for Miguel. Why not? Who would have thought that? You can hear the crowd cheering. They appreciate. Miguel's making a match out of this. This is a David versus Goliath scenario. Even if David, in this case, is the veteran. He's been with us since December of year 1. As Miguel. In fact, in his debut, he fought another big man. Big Titan of all people. Needed an opponent to finish off that year, and Miguel was available, so he took the match, and didn't go well for him, not surprisingly, but you know, it's sometimes when you're a wrestler, you get booked any which way you can. Try to be optimistic about it. But this was Miguel's entry back into the promotion. Are you willing to take on this very big opponent? Standing moonsault again. We've seen a 2 count. 2.9. Well, clearly Miguel didn't just come to just pack it in. Might just be a matter of time before he succumbs to the superior size and strength of Mike Jr., but it's, I think, oh, superplex. Nobody told, well, I guess no one specifically told Miguel you must lay down. It was implied. But he's trying to make something of his moment here, clearly. Here's Mexico Miguel drop kick down low. But now it's Mike Jr.'s turn to go in motion, running, clothesline. Just flattens his man. Miguel with the wherewithal to kick out eventually. It's too late, though. We've seen 3. And, you know, a good workout from Mike Jr. for first match over. Look at him. I think Miguel stretched him. He pushed him. You know, on paper, maybe a mismatch if you look at just the, the physical statistics, perhaps. But how about that? 89%. The junior pushes the heavyweight to 14.5 minutes. Running forearm smash. Okay, I mentioned that in the profile. Maybe that was the. Could it be that there's something loaded in Mike's forearm padding there, just like his father? Because he hadn't. I don't think he attempted any pinfalls prior to that. So I was wondering if we'd even see 3 there. Maybe Miguel might have been able to kick out and stretch it a little longer. I'm just saying if the forearm padding was loaded, that might have made the difference. We're dealing with ifs now. But a fitting way for Mike Jr. to close the match with that. It's not controversy because we don't have reason to think he's done that. Load the forearm. I'm just saying the history with his father. Okay, moving on. Successful debut for Mike Jr. Match 2, a special heavy versus junior attraction again. Like match 1. So this is the 3rd installment of this rivalry. It began when these two men crossed paths during a tag match, or 6-tag, and there wasn't any particular beef. They were just members of teams set up against each other, and Omega, who you just saw, got bloodied rather badly by the vicious, off-color, surf the lines of not just the rules but moral, good taste, Shota the Irredeemable. And it was actually Omega's idea for these two to fight in singles originally. Omega wanted revenge. He got it by handling Shota fairly easily. Heavy versus junior wasn't a big surprise. But if you're Shota, you're looking to redeem yourself. Irredeemable looks to redeem. Uncorks the flame breath. Omega wasn't there, counters with a kick. But Shota's just here to prove that he can do better. Like a junior doesn't have to necessarily be slaughtered by a heavyweight. And I think in match 1, Mexico Miguel demonstrated that too. It was absolutely a competitive match. And now Shota is getting choked in the turnbuckle. Foot choked. Shota lands one of those big looping haymakers. Goes for a second one, doesn't land. I guess he figured if it worked one time, why not try it again? So yeah, landing some shots now. Shota putting his box into good use. There's a jab. That could set up some offense. Subsequently, drops down into the rear choke. Well, Shota looking pretty good now. Tries the flame breath again, misses, but starts windmilling. Haymaker strikes, and now the scything action. Doesn't draw blood this time, but that was the root of the rivalry. It's bloodletting. Omega was able to block one of the strikes, but then holding and hitting. Body slam out of the ring. I think Omega needs this to sort of stop the momentum that Shota's gathered. Now he's got a chair, steel chair. He was disarmed, so no damage done. Approaching 5 minutes. I think it's 5
minutes gone.
It's gone well for Shota for the most part, much better than last time, I think. Eats a super kick, but then he replies with a low blow. Now mounted rear striking. Illegal. Omega's out of there at 2. Striking. Submissions. Dirty tactics. It's all on display by Shota. This is the Shota that we've grown to expect. Didn't necessarily execute his game plan well first time against Omega, but the second try, he's doing much better for himself. Drops the elbow off the motion, out of the ring again.
1, 2,
This time Omega out there, content to follow up.
5,
Knee strike.
6, 7,
Hooks the leg for the brainbuster.
9, 10, 11,
Shota fighting back with beatdown tactics. Low blows.
15,
Outside one of those
17,
announce tables. Omega in at 17. Running clothesline, taking advantage of his superior size. Wow. From the shoulder mount into a German suplex, 2.9. Would have been a pretty spectacular finish. Omega appealing to the Canadian crowd. One of those reverse Frankensteiners. Now it's Shota's turn to try to desperately fight back. It's been Omega since they got back in the ring for the most part. Low blows followed up with the torture grind. Steel chair looming in the nearby. I don't know if it'll factor in. Someone might land on it. There's some biting. So there's the second attempt at bloodletting. I can see it already coming out. So we now have a red ring again. Shota windmill striking. And he's going to see if he can get any more out of the guy.
10 minutes gone.
Blood starting to gather in the ring. Shota had to suffer that 2.9 count earlier, but he's fighting desperately to keep this going. Looking pretty good. Oh, there's that double arm. Pile driver. Standing shooting star. And maybe if you're Omega, you know, put a stop to that as soon as possible now that you're bleeding. Stop the bleeding, literally and figuratively. 10.5 minutes. And a much better showing. A much better showing by Shota. I think he largely redeemed himself. Obviously, he irredeemable. I know he certainly would have liked the win, but I think 98% match evaluation. He did everything that he normally does. He just fell a little short, but a much more competitive rematch than I recall the first one being, the original match. So, if you're Shota, do you say, okay, we need to do this a third time, right? Because I'm improving. I lost kind of badly the first time, lost only narrowly the second time. Maybe there's a progression there. If a pattern continues to evolve there, maybe Shota can win the third. So yeah, fair enough. On third time's a charm grounds, we will very likely do this again. I think I'd like to see this one more time, at least, to see if Shota can be third time lucky, third time's a charm, so you can get it done. So we've already seen blood from match 2. I wouldn't rule out a little bit more for this Ace Heavyweight Championship. First time this title appears in this promotion. And the man who was in line for Big Titan, his rematch with the King of Canada, supposed to happen this month. It got derailed by a brash jerk. Came out of nowhere from a defunct organization waving a championship belt around. There he is. Ace Heavyweight Champion, the last that promotion produced. Hell Knight. who, if you know your Fire Pro Wrestling, this man can paint the ring red too. So keep an eye out for that. Headlock to start. Rather big and muscular is the Hell Knight body slam. Accomplishing quite a bit with his power early. And then countering what might have been a double arm suplex attempt. But the Knight, Midnight variety, they're both Knights, has been stringing moves together since then. I think that's about 4 moves in a row now. After it was a hot start for Hell. It's Hell versus Midnight. I should probably not refer to the Knight at all in this match because they're both Knights. It's the Battle of the Knights. Winner is the Ace Champion. And if you're the Hell Knight and you win, remember the deal he struck with Satan's General. The Hell Knight can put the Midnight Knight out of action, not just beat him, or maybe not even beat him. If he can render the Midnight Knight unable to compete, then the Hell Knight will be offered a long-term contract here at the Canada Wrestling Promotion. So there's quite a bit for both men to achieve here. Obviously, Hell Knight wants to keep his Ace Championship and gain access to, gain a new promotion, brand new promotion to work for. If you're the Midnight Knight, you can win a championship right now. You could have your first singles championship. And you wouldn't want to lose and have doubt cast as to whether he's still a reasonable contender to face Big Titan someday. As if you recall, the Midnight Knight, looked very, very good in his first crack at the King of Canada. So to some degree, that image is on the line here too. He wants to make sure he's still perceived as that guy who might just be able to do the impossible, which is defeat Big Titan.
5 minutes gone.
Stomp across the face, the Hell Knight looking to damage some of those pretty boy good looks. Well, 5 minutes in, and Midnight made another attempt at a suplex. And again, too strong is the Hell Knight, seemingly, to be bullied around. Midnight's a strong guy. Look at his physique, but he's up against a pretty big guy in the Hell Knight. So if you're Midnight, maybe you try to put aside this pride. Forget about the power moves. Just try to just win the moves. And there we go. I called it. I did call it. We could very well see blood. Running clothesline, Boston Crab combination wrestling for a man who's now split open. Look at all the blood. So, perhaps advantage Hell Knight. I basically predicted it at the beginning that there would be blood involved. And now we have some sort of blade, some sort of claw. It's a variation on brass knuckles, I suppose. Get out some sort of bladed, multi-pronged device. Pretty vicious. If that's what it takes. I mean, he has been instructed to take this man, Midnight Knight, out. And bleeding him with profusion is definitely one way you might achieve that. Now, grinding his face into the mat. More attempts to make the Midnight Knight just a little less handsome. Kick to the face will help with that too. So there's even more on the line. Oh, again. Hell Knight is trying to beat the Midnight Knight into an ugly person. So there's even more on the line. Rake of the face again going after the good looks. There's even more on the line for Midnight as well now. Will he still be a pretty boy when all this is over with? Low blow. That was just plain low. Goes for a pin after the low blow. You figure the referee should maybe issue a warning for dirty tactics, not dignify that with a count. Sleeper hold. Leaves blood behind. And now we might just see more.
10 minutes gone.
Stick a fork in and he's done, says Hell Knight. And he says, what? What? What did I do? What's everyone so upset about? Boot to the pelvis. Posing down like he's Hulk freaking Hogan. Well, he is a heavyweight champion. Oh, rolling, guillotine, leg drop from the turnbuckle. Speaking of Hogan, so both men have emulated Hogan. Either by posing down or by using the leg drop. Even though Hogan didn't go off the top rope, of course. Perhaps ever. I don't know. I don't. Not that I know of. 2.9, by the way. The Hell Knight, that close to making a pretty strong case to be a member of this promotion. But yeah, write in the comments, did you ever see Hulk Hogan in any promotion? Fly off the top rope? I'm guessing not. Maybe in his really younger days when he was maybe AWA, or maybe when he was with Vince Sr., the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWE. Maybe when he was really young, maybe he might have flew from the top rope and maybe gave someone a flying body press, you know, with someone to break and cushion your fall as you bring 300 pounds down from the sky. You wouldn't want to land awkwardly from that height and with that kind of weight. So the Hell Knight thinking he's already, or mockingly thinking he's ingratiated himself with the Canadian crowd, waving to them. Something tells me, though, even though Midnight Knight is not Canadian, he does wear the red and white in his pants. Maybe Canada appreciates that. And the women probably cheer wildly, regularly for this handsome, studly guy. So I have to think, and of course Team Satan, who this guy's being recruited by, Hell Knight, is a villain faction. You'd think that the Canadian fans would probably be pretty pro Midnight Knight, yeah. And who doesn't like, you know, singing along to that catchphrase? I hear it's one of the fastest growing catchphrases in wrestling. More forking. There's a lot of blood going on here. Should we start getting concerned? Well, Midnight, for his credit, jumps right back up and says he's not going to take that. It might not matter what he wants to take. He might just be nearly done for. All this blood. Wow, mission. Have to figure, if you're Satan's general, who we said is sitting in the front row for this match along with the foot soldier, the general's got to be extremely pleased with what's happening here. This is a Midnight Knight who's been a top contender, meteorically rising. And he's just leaving just a trail of blood wherever he goes. Nope, looks like Hell Knight showing signs of fatigue, though. Apologies for the missed finish. We had to cut the broadcast feed on account of blood. Mindful of good taste standards, fearful of alienating sponsors. In the end, after all that horror, the new Ace Heavyweight Champion, winning his first singles title here in the Canada Wrestling Promotion, the Midnight Knight. Yeah. Match 4 for Dramatic Fight Wrestling's Heavyweight Championship. I just finished eating half of a blue chocolate bar. I shall eat the other half after this match of blue versus blue as Team Pearl Harbor. I might put teams in quotations now. Team Pearl Harbor explodes. Wise man Ted Axel, the $50,000 man who just witnessed his recent rival for the #1 contendership, the Midnight Knight, win his heavyweight championship match. Can Ted Axel defeat the Baron, the People's Champion, and certainly the champion of dramatic fight wrestling? Ted Axel goes for a surprise roll-up early on to try to set a record. Big body slam from the Big Baron. Ted attacking the foundation there. Suffers a boot to the gut in reply. Double arm, sit down, power bomb, big move for the first minute. But he has caught the Baron by surprise a couple times, I think, perhaps. Shoulders to the midsection, with the champion trapped in the turnbuckle. Go behind, which I hear the Baron is not shy about. And he does one of those Ric Flair style shin breakers. Combination striking by the champion, but he eats the Teddy Twister across the lit part of the main sponsor logo. Dragon Screw leg whip. Eats a rather vicious uppercut chop to the throat, does the challenger, the $50,000 challenger. Pearl Harbor circling each other right now. Airplane spin. The Baron going old school with the dizzying tactics. Goes to an arm twist, shoulder smashes. Trying to wear down the arm. It's been a bit of a battle attacking the limbs by these men. Test of striking won by the champion, who will apply a backbreaker draped across the knees. Knee drape backbreaker, I've called it. Pants, pile driver. Oh! Headbutt down low, green hair to the groin. Green groin action. And those rodeo arm breakers, though, as the challenger seeks to regain the upper hand, attacking the leg. Big forearm shot with a DDT as the Baron spills off of the Lit Cola main sponsor logo. Superman punch attempted there, but the Baron was too wily. How about that for Wiley? The drop down off the Irish whip into the hip toss. Back elbow and then a back flip drop kick to the dazed champion. Now attacking that arm right in the middle of the ring, goes for the submission. It's early though, 6 minutes by the match clock. And now you're going to see the Phoenix Plex.
1, 2.
2 count, near the ropes. So Ted attempting that Superman punch again, or maybe call it the Wise Man punch. Drop kick to the back of the dazed champion. And the England stretch, as Axel calls it, which is the regal stretch. Oh, went to that double arm again. The Baron was wise to it this time, however. Oh, and he's going for some pants dropping action.
Give up.
Always a bit awkward how to call that. Oh, just sitting on his face. Embarrassment tactics. Ted says, don't be doing that to me. That's a little bit off color. $50,000 flying press there. I guess it was a super fly. I almost said $50,000 frog splash, but it wasn't really a frog. He didn't do that, you know,
1,
clutch thing, whatever that is.
2, 2.
Small package attempted, but we're all tied up in the ropes.
2.
Now the Baron takes his turn going to the double arm. Fireman's carry slam in reply.
It's gone.
We hit the 10-minute mark. See, it seems pretty even match so far, doesn't it? Don't know if either man has really dominated for any real stretch. So, we might be getting toward the waters of endurance check, gut check.
Yeah.
Who can take this match over late? Sit down powerbomb off the double arm. And we have a 2.9. That close to a $50,000 champion. The Baron casts his Pearl Harbor rival out of the ring. Both men each taking their turn catching a breather. Going for that second wind. Dragon screw leg whip. Oh. Shin breaker. Flying ball punch. Down low with the drop. Oh, there's a Luthez press. The Luthez. Just the 2 count though by the champion there. Now he's trying to induce the disqualification off the chair. But no, the referee doesn't like the fact that we're in the ropes. Now is not the time to call a disqualification, I guess, while we're in the ropes. Again, too close to the ropes for that nut clutch. So I think the champion needs to bring this away from the outskirts, bring it toward the middle here if he's going to make good on some of these tactics he's employing, dirty or otherwise. The ref is still going to insist it be done away from the ropes. Whether it's phony submission or something else. I poke the Baron on the wily and off-color counter with the going after the eyes. Calling for it to be over, this test of striking, does Ted, but then he eats the super kick. Approaching 15 minutes. We're back to that. The pants.
Give up.
And we'll see if Ted wants to quit. Does he not want to go through this again?
Give up.
It was pretty damn unpleasant the first time. Oh, just riding around. Oh, God. Twice he's had to put up with that. Now flung out of the ring for the second time. The champion, since that 2.9, I think has looked pretty good.
4, 5, 6, 7,
And it might be at the point where it's anyone's match at this point, anyone's title.
11,
Cross-face chicken wing from the stand-up position. The Baron's begging off, please no more. But I think the wise man is probably too wise to be taken in by that. I think you'd be surprised if the Baron was looking to quit and bow out. These two men are no strangers to each other. Been partners, been rivals, been champions. of both heavyweight variety. There's a small package.
2, 3.
And that is enough to retain the title. I did say that the Baron was working his way back in after being a bit behind there after the 2.9. And he did take control sufficiently. So disappointment for Ted Axel in that we almost had both pretty boy contenders. Remember a few episodes back we had the pretty boy, was the episode called Pretty Boy Battle? Where they fought for the number one contendership, the two handsome, arrogant types. But only one becomes champion on this occasion, as revenge denied by the Baron. You recall from the intro, $50,000 man was a bit smarting over the Baron having surpassed what the wise man had accomplished for this title. It had been 3 defenses for Axel's reign, had been 4 defenses for the Baron. Now it's 5. And now there's really, I guess there's not a whole great need to do this again, because the Baron has now put himself farther ahead in terms of title defenses in a single reign. So congratulations to the People's Champion. Still the DFW heavyweight title holder. Match 5 for Canada's Junior Championship. Although it's not really for the title in actuality. It's for the title, at least in name. As we talked about earlier, this is basically a phase of the Mexico Miguel bargain. You saw Miguel earlier do what he was asked to do, which was provide a good workout without seriously threatening to defeat. Well, he did rather seriously threaten to defeat him. Who are we kidding? Didn't he have a 2.9? The match was too close if you were Mike Sharp Jr. But now this is phase 2, as we see your Canadian Junior Champion of Canada. So Owen may be trying to make it look good, at least in the early going. Executes an offensive move. So you, the insider, know what's happening here because it's been discussed. This is part of the plan to make Mexico Miguel's return acceptable. Reversal on the Irish whip. The fans don't necessarily know what's going on in the stands. Maybe are not privy to the insider information. But we've seen Owen a couple times execute some offense. So it's not like he just came in and just accepted the finger poke of doom when you had the Hogan Kevin Nash debacle from WCW. It might look to the blind eye that, there we go, there's a third move in by Owen. To the blind eye, it might look like this is just a really good performance by Christian as he executes the back suplex. Yeah, okay. I think maybe at a glance this might look like somewhat of a real match. If you're unaware that Type B Big Man Complex has agreed to basically grant Christian this title defense. What does Owen get out of it? At the moment, that much has not been made clear, even to insiders. One person knows. Straightening up his pants. I mean, it's been a bit of a workout for Christian. Nearly 5 minutes of work. I guess that's about enough time to have your pants go down. So yeah, and then the kick out at the end. So it almost looks like Type B was trying to keep this match going. So yeah. To the fan who doesn't know the inside, that just looked like a great performance by Christian. He takes 4.5 minutes. But the match evaluation reflects the brevity of it. I think fans have certainly grown to expect more from Big Man Complex. And, of course, as we know, there's circumstance behind it. All shall be revealed in future episodes, so stay tuned. For now, Christian retains Canada's Junior Championship. Match 6 is fittingly for the 6-tag championship. So I guess I kind of lied a little bit when I said that I would be eating my blue chocolate bar second half. After that blue on blue match, I still have it over there. Speaking of blue, there's blue hair. Finally back with his Canadian buddies in Sharpshooter Syndicate. Reunited cause it feels so good to go for a championship they've never won. They've had a 2.9 to hoist these 3-man belts. And probably what better time? What better opportunity will they get? Because this is a team that's not much experience together. Team best friend joining forces with Iron Mike Sharp. And as we've seen, for the most part, the Hitman has had KO's number. Only one blemish for Brett against KO, so now's the time for the Hitman to make good and hoist the 3-man 6-tag Championship of Canada. KO looking good in the early going, however. Eye rake, that'll change the complexion. There they are, the 3 of them again. Sharpshooter Syndicate. And how long has it been since this team formed? They've just kind of gone on their directions a lot of the time. Still remain friends. Can they be friends / champions together? Assisted powerbomb. KO decides he's faced 2 guys. Just as well he get out of there. Iron Mike Sharp, Canada's greatest athlete against the Canadian sensation. Battle of guys with Canada in their nicknames. Sensational suplex applied. Not suplex. Sensational sleeper. Sorry. Sensational sleeper onto Sharp. Body slam. I think I'm under control now. Everyone just calm down. The Sensation looking pretty sensational so far against Iron Mike. Running. Drop elbow. He even gives him a strike. What was it, a palm strike to the face? As he was retreating. Oh, team up here. One partner Irish whips the other and follows up himself. Wow. And across the other way to another turnbuckle smash. Wow. Reversing on that Bundy avalanche. As all of a sudden the Sensation is discombobulated, getting the double team. And now he turns it around, or at least he tries to, getting in blue hair. With a 2-on-1 again. somehow does not favor Sharpshooter Syndicate. Blue Hair tries his hand or hands as they lock fingers there against Lionheart. Dragon Screw Leg Whip. Wow, just a running straight punch off the Irish Whip. Why not? Add some force two ways to your punch as both men are running toward each other. Delayed vertical suplex. Some more turnbuckle work. Oh, but this time Blue Hair, too wily, escapes. Not worn out enough, I guess, but he gets thrown out of the ring. He escapes the approaching Iron Mike Sharp, who looked to take advantage of him outside. In a sense there, for a moment there, Blue Hair was just essentially facing all three men. They all seem to be, in some form or another, on the attack, or recently. Reverse atomic drop. And now the captains are back facing each other. Test of striking ultimately won by the Hitman, who hits his opponent until he falls. KO showing some agility there and some wherewithal, getting out of the way of that strike. Arm drag, takedown. Old school goes the old man. Swinging neckbreaker. Double team by the two Canadian members of the Sharpshooter Syndicate, the vertical suplex out of the ring, and now Blue Hair following up all three members of Sharpshooter out there, ganging it. How was Lionheart supposed to withstand this? He's not doing it so far. Finally, help arrives. Team up on the vertical suplex, and now the Sharpshooter being applied out there on the floor. Team Canada Black members have showed up. The cavalry came rather late, as Jericho took a beating out there. Oh, the Hitman. Well, okay. I'm not sure exactly what landed there. I think the sensation might have missed from the top rope, but sure looks spectacular. Let's say it was a double hit, because that sure was spectacular if they both landed those blows. And Jericho needs to get the heck out of there. Things have not gone his way of late. Now here's some old WWF guys before they changed it. WWE. Back in the old Federation days. I don't know if these men, their paths ever crossed, but they're crossing now. Veteran v. Veteran. Of course, Iron Mike came a bit before Bret Hart in terms of the chronology. And quite a bit of years elapsed in between when Iron Mike challenged for the world title versus when Bret Hart would eventually become champion of the world. Can he now become champion of the six tag as Iron Mike has already done? So that's chronologically fair enough too then, because Iron Mike is the first of these two to win it, and if the Hitman can pull it off, he'll be the second, although Bret's win would be more prestigious in that he's the captain of Sharpshooter Syndicate. Reversal on the atomic drop, and the referee needs to get the heck out of the way as Big Kev puts that mass in motion, bullying his way through two members of the Syndicate. Sensation wise to get out of the way as Kevin comes barreling toward him. It's a possible 2-on-1 there. Look at the ring awareness, the generalship of Bret Hart to isolate them and fight them one at a time. Although the numbers sort of caught up with him eventually. As Canada's greatest athlete gained the upper hand, but now it eats a knee to the bread basket to the midsection. Clothesline missed. Double arm suplex. Rather stiff, awkward looking one at that. Boston Crab helps on the way. That did not last as both partners, Sharpshooter Syndicate of Bret's came in. Reverse atomic drops, so this time executed by Sharpshooter. 2-on-1. Team up. Vertical suplex. Sleeper hold. Lionheart is in there with the save. Spinning heel. Buying. Iron Mike, plenty of time to get tagged out. Now they're in pursuit 2-on-1. They do get a hold of the smaller blue hair. Iron Mike's tall. Kevin Owens big. Blue hair kind of neither. He gets bullied and now he's being attacked outside the ring. But look at that. Backflip high kick. And then even applying a rear choke. And meanwhile, there's 4 guys fighting inside the ring. My God. Plenty of action here. All 6 men participating. All 6 in the ring. Only briefly, though. Couldn't last forever. Non-legal men had to get out of there. Test of striking won by Blue Hair. And the Sharpshooter is on. Second application from Blue Hair. Oh, he manages to hold on to it. The save was not made. Little extra opportunity to maybe get the submission there. We didn't get it though. Body slam on the big man. Kevin goes tumbling out. Blue Hair is now being restrained. But Iron Mike goes flying off the apron. Crazy action. For a second there, I wasn't sure who was legal. Jericho making the long walk from the challenger's corner to finally get back to the apron. Team up on the vertical suplex out of the ring. Team Canada Black, the champions. All 6 men involved again. Only briefly, though. As we devolve back to a mere one-on-one. The superior height and momentum allows Canada's greatest athlete get the bowl over. Posing down for the Canadian fans. Monkey flip out of the turnbuckle. Oh, look at that. Professional roll-up pin. But we have a breakup. Looked like the save was going to get made there. The save was going to get prevented. It was made anyway. The match continues as we go past 20 on the match clock. Iron Mike. Arms raised in victory. Enjoying his time out there. He's a champion. Might not have thought it would ever happen again. Arrogant pin, wrong part of town. Wasn't going to see a finish there. Running. Inverted powerbomb into the turnbuckle. Reverse atomic drop. Now the Sensation's in trouble over there. In the champion's corner. Frog splash. We're in the ropes again, however. And Hawkins, the Sensation, wisely getting out of there. Goes and gets some help. Cap Captain Brett, who will go for a pin attempt. 2.9. That time there was no interruption on the pin attempt. Not quite. So once again, Sharpshooter Syndicate. That close to their first 6-tag title.
Okay, baby.
Jericho trying to get the Canadian crowd behind Team Canada Black. And why not? Why shouldn't they be behind Team Canada Black? They do have Canada in their name. Another 2.9. Was that Diamond Cutter by the Sensation. Superfly over there. Phoenix Plex over there. Sharpshooter Syndicate looking exceptional as they look for this finish. Got a couple 2.9s. Will third times be the charm in terms of the pin attempt. DDT by Lionheart. Running Bulldog. Cass, the Sensation, out of the ring. It looked like he might have been planning a slingshot or something to follow up. Chaos begins to ensue. Iron Mike takes time out to pose again before he vacates. There's that stepping palm strike, devastating blow. 3 count. It has finally happened. Punctuated at the end as the Hitman looked like he did a Diamond Cutter on KO. So the individual rivalries were all the way of Sharpshooter Syndicate this time. Because if you remember at the Canada Day tournament, we revisited and carried on those rivalries. The Canadian Sensation and Lionheart. Once again, the Sensation, he just has Lionheart's number. It just seems like we could run this 100 times. It seems like we can't see any variation there. The Sensation gets the finish over Lionheart, and while that was happening, the Hitman was inflicting a punishing hold on KO. So the Sharpshooter Syndicate finally, now they've got blue hair back with them, and they were all free to team up and go for these titles. They have made good. They can check that off their Canadian bucket list. Sharpshooter Syndicate has finally become 6-tag champions. Happy for you guys. And on a side note, this frees up Iron Mike to team with his son. I mean, I'm sure he didn't meet and lose on purpose, but that's the silver lining to Mike Sharp dropping his title, is that now he's now free. Six tag champions. Match 7. Team Terrible takes its turn as we present Canada's Tag Team Championship. The challengers, latest edition of Team Canada Blue, Big Mike, precedes the Blue Blazer, who is taking on the captaincy in the wake of Big Mike not having the best of results lately. You give someone else a chance to take the lead, and if you are the Blue Blazer, although he's been champion, it was in a subordinate role as a member of the 6-tag championship. So his name is not actually in the record books anywhere. So if he could do the seemingly impossible, lead a team to defeat Jason and the Bear, and he would get his first official recognition in the title history. In case you're wondering, I did finish the blue chocolate bar. For those of you who might have been eager for closure on that. So there you go. Some superhero strength there employed by the Blue Blazer, hip tossing a bear of all things. But the bear hug in reply. There's more of that superhero strength. Winning the test of strength. And he'll need to be plenty super if he is to overcome Terrible Ted. And the bear wins the rematch on the test of strength. Flying kick misses there, the agility on display. Tries it again. If at first you don't succeed, try again, I guess. And now, the two big competitors. I almost said big men. Of course, it's a man versus a bear right now. Arm trap choke. Now Jason the Terrible gets his first action. Wearing his Canada red, his Canada Day red. After not having been part of Canada Day. Better late than never. And clearly he's nice and rested and fresh because he was able to reverse the vertical suplex on the rather large Big Mike. But of course, Jason's not small, is he? And I was talking during the exchange of strikes there. Was it Big Mike punching the hockey mask armor of... There's another blow to the armor. One of those advantages that Team Terrible has.
5 minutes gone.
So the Blue Blazer is determined that he's going to land that flying kick at some point. Gut wrench suplex. And a snap suplex. Superhero suplexes on display. Was that the 4th time he's missed with that flying kick? Give it up, Blue Blazer. Try something different. Unless he's determined that that's the key to winning these tag team titles. He decided that's the move. It's the title winning move. I guess it's becoming a point of pride. He wants to prove that he can land that kick. Another hip toss. Now, there it is again. So some mat grappling on display. Reversals, counters. Some pretty good Greco-Roman amateur style wrestling on display by two mat technicians. One of whom, yes, is a bear. Because that's not silly. Smothering tactics attempted there. Big Mike escapes with a backdrop slam of some sort. Tries to overpower the bear. Doesn't work. Blue Blazer might have gotten away with it, but he is a superhero after all. Big Mike is merely a mortal. He's just a very strong non-superhero. Of course, they're all mortal, aren't they? I guess what I should have just said is that Big Mike is more of a normal. And that guillotine choke. The bear not being the legal man, there was no automatic break there for being in the ropes because it wasn't formally a submission attempt. Oh, press. Press slam. Big Mike's awesome strength on display, and Jason comes tumbling out of the ring. Team Canada Blue politely awaits his return to the ring. Gut wrench suplex into the challenger's corner. Vertical suplex out of the ring. Jason content to go out in pursuit. Oh, he narrowly avoided getting just nailed in the back of the head. Big Mike was about to attack him from behind. Jason just got out of there at the last possible second. Face plants Mike out there on the floor. Now he's working a chin lock. Counts up to 16, by the way. My goodness. Well, it was Jason that would have been counted out. But he stayed out there. Maybe he should have just stayed out there and accept the count out defeat, and the titles don't change hands on a count out. So, I guess he's not there to get a cheap win. He's here to fight. As you saw in alternative there, he went for a steel chair. He's here to perpetrate violence. He wasn't around for Canada Day, so he's had quite a while to wait for his opportunity to mix it up in there. So we saw some teamwork a little earlier there. It was the assisted powerbomb by Team Canada Blue. Definitely want to employ plenty of that. Double team. Just had a big slap anyway. Hip toss, a move that the Blazer has gone to several times in this match. I guess he figures use the bear's weight against him by unbalancing him, slamming him to the mat. Good strategy, perhaps. Maybe not a good strategy to try to employ an overpowering move, as the bear is still, well, Ted is still a bear after all. He didn't stop being a bear. He's still going to be stronger than most in most circumstances. So more of that teamwork employed. Assisted powerbomb, very good idea. Sleeper hold. Pretty sure we've never seen the bear submit. Don't expect to. Now we have all four mammals in the ring. Team up on the clothesline. The Blue Blazer, yet another failed attempt at that flying kick. Or jumping kick, I guess. Jumping kick. He didn't go off the top rope. Well, just launching Jason the Terrible into the turnbuckle. Finally, he lands that kick. The jumping kick. Will that lead to a title? For the Blue Blazers seem to think it will, because he's been at that all match. Oh, but then he eats a hockey mask headbutt into the K-Roch, and then followed up with another falling headbutt as Jason uses that armor as a weapon. As these two masked men fight atop the steel chair, Jason employs a jumping headbutt. All four in the ring again. Jason tossed out of the ring. Not too late in the match, I guess, for some mat grappling. Could lead to a pin attempt, submission attempt, something like that. Oh, standing guillotine. Speaking of submission attempts, oh, too much. The Blue Blazer was right there. And he was jumping in, trying to make the save, but too much fatigue, clearly, as Big Mike is desperate for breath. That combined with the choke. The standing guillotine choke by Terrible Ted. And it's actually our second match evaluation with 77%. So that's lucky, right? And so the woes continue for Big Mike. He's, geez, I think that's 3 losses in a row where he's lost in every kind of match. He lost his 6 tag that he was the captain of. Then he lost in singles first round of the Canada Day tournament and losing in tag. Big Mike needs some sort of turnaround. I'm not sure what that is. Wrestling the Bear might not have been what the doctor ordered. As Team Terrible, Jason and the Bear, still Canada's tag team champions. Match 8, the main event for Canada's Heavyweight Championship. Wolf Hockfield, the challenger, to be 2-time Canada's heavyweight champion. Only 2 other men, only 2 men total, have been 2-time champions. Big Mike and this man here, Big Titan. So if the Wolf is to be 2-time champion and join this hallowed feud, he'll not only have to defeat the current champion and have to defeat Big Titan, he will have to overcome the Titan 12. A dozen defenses on this reign for Big Titan, which is outrageous. So, cast out of the ring is the Wolf. He doesn't play that back alley brawl game. He gets right back in. Especially with Big Titan going out after him. I guess the Wolf figures, if you want me out here, I'm coming back in. Let the mind games begin. Or at least the strategy. I mean, I guess it's not really a mind game for Wolf because reversal on the vertical suplex out of the ring, howls at the moon and poses down. The Wolf is feeling it. He believes that he can be the man to end this incredible run. My Big Titan, speaking of run, runs into the champion with a shoulder. Now it's Big Titan's turn to reverse. Vertical suplex. Titan hug. We're in the ropes. We get a quick break there. So both men demonstrating power so far. Both men have been overpowering at times. Swinging neck breaker, elbow drop combo. Big Titan was just starting to get up there, it looks like, but he was down long enough to eat that elbow. European uppercut. Big Titan almost in desperation. Kick to the top of the head just to break up the momentum of the challenger. Wolf is looking good so far in these first 3 minutes. Match clock. Now Titan seeks to bully him into the champion's corner there. Yeah, like I said, not mind games for Wolf to roll back in the ring. It's strategy. I mean, the Wolf cannot win the championship outside on the floor. Flies from the top rope with a back elbow, and there's the armbar submission attempt. This is the move that the Wolf won this championship with 3 years ago at the original Canada Day Spectacular. Can that be the winning move again? It worked one time. It didn't work at Canada Day just past episode. Perhaps Titan was wise to it, but you know, the match goes on long enough and guys get fatigued enough. Someone traps a limb and is squeezing it unbearably. You just might not have the energy to escape.
5 minutes gone.
And the Wolf with a pop-up diamond cutter, looking incredible so far at 5 and change. 2 count, 2 and change real early. Well, the champion is going to need to find something to turn this around. Double arm suplex into the ropes. Drop kick to the back of the head. This is more what we expect out of the champion. Putting together brutality, combination brutality, the Titan hug. So this minute has been the champion's. Well, spoke too soon because the champion is very much in this match all of a sudden. But it was a very good first 5 for Hawkfield. Double arm suplex. Arrogant cover. The Wolf was out at 1, so the Wolf's ahead in this match. He was only down for 1. He held Titan down for just over 2. Vertical suplex out of the ring.
1.
And the Titan is catching his breath. It's been a rough, vigorous first 7 minutes. But he's still got the wherewithal to bowl his opponent over. Not the first time someone has ill-advisedly... Oh, how about that? Ill-advisedly put the Titan in motion, but there we go. Off the Irish whip, exploder suplex. That is the trademark, the signature of Big Titan. The Wolf uses it on him. Clothesline, elbow drop. Big Titan putting moves in combination now. Drop kick to the back of the head. Big Titan reminding us of why he's been dominant champion, for he has taken over, for the most part, this match. The challenger looked good early going. Jumping, drop kick on the run. But that's not to say the Wolf's out of this. He's had his moves sprinkled in here or there. And now he reverses the vertical suplex. Okay, using those running drop kicks in combination, in series more like. We saw him use that strategy to defeat Kevin Owens, KO, in the tournament. And he attempted it on Big Titan on Canada Day. It didn't work out. But to be fair, few things do work out against Big Titan. Fire, jumping, powerbomb. Titan had his hand on the ropes there, though, so we won't get a count. Oh, there's the exploder suplex. In Titan's mind, of course, the real exploder. The Wolf goes rattling off the ropes, and now we had 2 counts aside now. Could very well be all even at this point. Could very well come down to who can put the moves together now. Fire, jumping, powerbomb. Right across the Lit Cola main sponsor logo, 2.9. Big Titan comes back with a powerbomb. 2.9, of course. What else could we have had between these two? This is one of the most even and epic rivalries this promotion has ever seen. Pops up on the diamond cutter again. There's the pin. Are we in the rope? So yes, we are. Looks like the hair of Big Titan might have been in the ropes. There's that powerbomb again. Is this going to be it, though? Is that rope break going to cost Wolf Hawkfield the championship? 2.9, that close to having... Oh, super bomb. Big Titan not taking no for an answer clearly. But 2.9, the Wolf is finding the resilience. He's hanging in there somehow, some way, amidst this barrage of devastating power. The Titan death drop. Off the ropes. Is this going to be curtains? Well, back body drop. Pretty standard early stage move, so no, not curtains. And the Wolf, very much still alive in this match then, hits the vertical suplex. Running leg drop. Hulk Hogan style. Shades of former world champion. And I think that might be it. No, it's still not. I was all ready to say so much for the Hogan leg drop because this is Big Titan after all. But the match continues. Where is the Wolf finding these reserves to keep going? How many 2.9s can Big Titan get before the Wolf finally succumbs? Reversal. On the vertical suplex, Big Titan still has the endurance to reverse a move. No series of shots. The Wolf says he's going down. Another one of those running drop kicks. So he made good on his word. But putting the man down is one thing. Keeping him down is completely another. This is Big Titan, and the Wolf is going to have to come up with something special here. Is this the special thing he's been looking for? The fire jumping power bomb. Barks at the moon does the Wolf as he achieves what seemed to be the impossible. I didn't know if we'd ever see it. Big Titan has lost Canada's heavyweight championship. Crowd going crazy. The title reign, the Titan title reign ends at 12. After their spectacular epic rematch on Canada Day, in which the Wolf was this close to repeating history, beating Titan in the tournament, he fell short, but not tonight. Wolf Hochfield has done it. He is now two-time. Let's do him this honor, because he's earned it. We'll get out the two belts. He's not a dual champion, but he's a two-time champion. But Wolf Hochfield now has two Canada's heavyweight championships to his name. I mean, I almost can't believe it because of the reign that we have seen Titan put on all this time. But I'm not going to say I called it because I didn't. But I think the build up to this has indicated that I kind of felt like if there's one man who could put an end to this reign, it was Wolf Hochfield. And he has reascended the mountain. He's your champion. I'll end it on this. I could go on and on. I know you don't necessarily want me to. I'll cap it off on this. I'll kind of quote myself from 3 years ago when the Wolf defeated Big Titan for the title at Canada Day. Year 1, I said, the era of the Titan is over. The era of the Wolf has begun. Era 2 for the Wolf as champion. Your champion. He's done it. He's reascended the mountain. Wolf Hochfield, Canada's heavyweight champion and new. Unreal.